Hello, everybody. I'm live again. This time, this podcast is going to be a Hawkeye related podcast. I wanted to start with my opinion and my take on the transfer portal slash NIL, what's going on now. Um, so let's just start where it was supposed to be. Hang on for a second. This should be better. Okay, let's start where it was supposed to be. Um, Originally, it was okay that players could benefit from their name, image, and likeness when they went to a school. There was different ways they could do that. They could set up an elective, collective. Pay the players. Something each month or each week or however they do it. And pay all the players that are on staff or on roster or something. Provided that they would be available for community services, charity events, meet and greets, things like that. And so that's what that part of it was set up. The other part was is they could go out and get endorsement deals. Like Caitlin Clark has endorsement deals from Nike, Hy-Vee, and who God knows what else. Um, you know, or that and so that she would be allowed to get some endorsement deals. And then that's part of it too, and I think also that's kind of the gist of what it was supposed to be for. What it's become in the second full year of NIL is the big schools are winning the recruiting battle, the transfer battle. They've got big money. They're paying these people. Fran McCaffrey believes that a few of the schools are actually offering seven figure dollar numbers to entice players to play. The transfer portal or the NIL was never set up to be a pay for play entity. And it's going to put schools like Iowa, who got a couple of collectives going, and Swarm probably being the major one. When they strictly focus on football and basketball, men and women's basketball. Um, to say, I'm just struggling with the thoughts on this. My thought is, Iowa isn't have have the money that Alabama has right now. Doesn't have the money that apparently the Texas school does. The money that UCLA has, and we'll talk about that later. Um, that kind of stuff. But my question is why can't Iowa get that kind of donorship money? You know, the school graduates a ton of lawyers and doctors, and everybody knows they make good money. Why can't we? Why can't those guys um, help donate? And how about the guys that go on to have professional careers? Can they donate some of that money back to help their old teams, prosper there? Because I was going to need some more money, guys, if we're gonna ever compete again. Um, and that's just the gist of it. We can't compete with the Alabamas of the world. We can't even compete with Ohio State and Michigan in our own conference for recruits. And so we're just being out recruited. I mean, Nebraska has been out recruiting us for years, and now they're hauling now that with this new coach, they're hauling in a pretty good haul of transfer portal players, both basketball and football this year. And yes, that usually happens when new coaches take over, but not in basketball. I'm just afraid that Iowa is going to be on the outside looking in pretty soon. Yes, our 2024 football recruiting class off to a great start. It is. I believe they're currently ranked number 17 nationally and number 4 in the Big Ten, behind the Big Three in the Big Ten, which is usually known as Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State. Those are considered the three big ones. Okay, and um, so yeah, we're doing well in that department for right now. How long can we maintain that on the national level? On the transfer portal, okay. Iowa football needs is obviously a wide receiver, but how do you get a wide receiver come if you don't have enough money to pay him, and the fact that we don't use the wide receivers that much. I noticed that a long time ago. The only year, and Jason would have to help me on this. I wish he was on this podcast today, or at least checking in as a commentator. The only year that Iowa's receivers caught a lot of passes was the year that we didn't really have a true tight end. I mean, we were struggling at the tight end position that year. It might have been Sam Laporta's first year at tight end or something. I don't know. It seems to me like it was in 2019 season, maybe Nate Stanley's last year, um, because that was also the year that our wide receivers put up some great numbers that year. Um, and so we got a problem there. But this NIL transfer portal thing is just it's getting out of hand. Take for example women's basketball. You know how many superstars from very good teams went into the transfer portal this year? Stanford was number one seed in the women's tournament this year. Although they did lose in the to UCLA in the Big Ten, I mean the Pac-12 title game, and they did lose in to somebody else. Oh, LSU in the right? Was it LSU or Louisville before? I can't remember which. I think it was probably LSU um, in the game. But anyway, but they were seated number one in Iowa's bracket. Okay, they have a sophomore center who, honestly, she's 6'7", only averaged about 5 points a game. She didn't play that much. Obviously, she was a backup and she was brand new. Okay, but she leaves a Stanford team that's supposedly better than UCLA. Okay, and I know that many people wanted her to become a Hawkeye, myself included. I mean, it's kind of hard to when you put a 6'7" center out there. It's kind of hard to it's hard to play around that when like for instance this year Monica Cazazano was our center and she was like 6'3". Okay, so it's kind of hard to play around a 6'7" center that we could have possibly started or at least got a lot more minutes at Iowa, but she chose UCLA. Why do you suppose she chose UCLA? One, she gets to stay in She gets to stay in California, but goes to Southern California. Two, UCLA's got more money than Iowa to pay players, and it's a pay for play. And down being in the Los Angeles market, she'll be sought after for endorsement deals and stuff. So she's going to make a ton of money. Okay, and then you got Haley Van Lith leaving the Louisville team, last year's national runner-up to South Carolina. Um, and why is she leaving? Okay, well, I think personally she's planning on playing for UCLA and Kim Mulvey next year. I think they kind of have the same attitude, and they recruited her. She recruited Kim Mulvey, coach, recruited her to tried to recruit her to Baylor when she first came out of high school. And her attitude kind of fits the attitude of the LSU player. We all seen the attitude of the LSU players. We know what they're like, and she fits that. She fits in that category. So I believe, although she hasn't officially announced it, and I think a lot of people believe too that she's LSU bound. But here's an example of another star player coming out of the national runner-up team from a year ago, and an elite eight team. Um, was an elite eight team, or was she a final four team? Iowa had to be. Oh no, Iowa had to beat South Carolina in the final four, and then lost in the national championship. So it was an elite eight team in Louisville. Okay, so they beat Louisville in the Elite Eight team, but still, that team went pretty far. Louisville did. Okay. And then you got DePaul. Okay. DePaul didn't make the tournament this year, and they made the first four in last year. But they had a transfer out of there. Their superstar. This one might be more. I could see that one more. I was going to talk about her later, but Anisha Morrow, 6'1". 6'1". I thought she averaged 25 points a game. I honestly thought she was a center, but maybe she was at DePaul. But at 6'1", she's probably more of a power forward. But we're going to talk about that when we go to women's basketball. I just wanted to show you all the top talent that was coming out in the women's basketball. And here's another one for you. In the men's basketball, big guys are coming out. I mean, Hunter Dickerson coming out of Michigan at the center. I would have loved Iowa to go after him, and I'm sure they didn't even try it because Fran's philosophy is he wants to find the small school, mid-major type players who um, who have developed and can come into his program and show what they can do, and that he feels have enough talent to play for his team. I mean, it worked with Philip Laracha last year. I mean, Philip Rabacha the year before was serviceable. He did his minutes and it was serviceable, but this year he was a force to be reckoned with. Um, if Iowa's new center, if he's in fact a center at 6'9", can come in and play with that kind of tenacity, that would be in great shape. Um, but I was just going. Let's go back to Hunter Dickerson in the transfer portal. He still hasn't found a school to go to yet. Although I hope he doesn't pick another Big Ten school. I really don't. Um, okay. So moving on. So this is where this has got out of hand. I think Hunter Dickerson is probably looking for the best NIL money he can grab, right? And this is just a prime example of just things just getting so totally out of hand. Um, and so uh, I don't know. Just people looking for greener skies, I guess. Not always looking for greener skies. I think, things. And there are people in the transfer portal that are in there for the third or fourth time, second, third, fourth time because that didn't work out the first time they went to school. Now or it did, but they're looking for more money elsewhere. So basically, NIL and transfer portals become a free agency thing. Okay. And it's just not fair to the coaches. It's not fair to the fans. I like the way Kirk and Fran approach it. They're not trying to build their teams through the transfer portal. They're trying to fill important needs on their team through the transfer portal. Use it, where they need to, and build their team from high school kids, or junior college players. That's where our guys like to do it, and I think it makes you more of a fan, really. You know, how hard is it to be a fan of Iowa State or Nebraska when the players are completely flipping over every year? You got new players every year. You might retain one or two, but it seems like you're always getting three or four new starters in every year with those teams because both those teams utilize the transfer portal heavily. And I think some of the other teams in the Big Ten are starting to do that too. I believe Rutgers has. I believe Penn State is using the transfer portal heavily um, to build their teams. And it's just hard to be a fan when you get these guys, these one and done year guys, or maybe 2 years and done. I like the idea of having these guys around for 3, 4, 5 years. Unless you get the occasional, Chris or Keegan Murray come in who come in and can leave early, but Chris gave us 3 years, and these guys can leave early and go to the NBA. Luca gave us 4 years before he went to the NBA. Joe Wieskamp gave us 3 years before he left for the NBA. So I appreciate those guys because those guys put in some time before they left for the NBA, and so, it's just hard, when you got guys leaving all the time, looking for greener pastures, looking for more money. Um, you know, And so, and the matter of fact is why did Eulis enter the transfer portal? I don't know. He's a starter. He's a starter. I mean, sometimes he can play a little out of control, but when he plays to his potential, in which being a junior next year, he should have been able to do that, or will he be a senior? He might be a senior next year. But anyway, he should have been able to, you know, start playing to his full potential. I mean, Perkins is coming into his own. Um, and I thought maybe he had a chance to go in the portal or would. My biggest fear is now is that another portal person could be Riley McCulvey. Um, that I think the guy has potential. I know he's late developing. He hasn't developed like we thought he would, but remember too, he came in a year early, and so um, this this would last this year would have been his freshman year, or last year would have been his freshman year. Okay, I mean this year would have been his freshman year, I believe. So he's going to be a junior next year in what would have been his sophomore year. So I think I think there's still some room for him to grow, obviously, and we're going to need the minutes. If all we get is the guy that we got out of the transfer portal, the Ben Crikey or Crike, however you want to say it. Um, if that's all we get for our center, then yeah, we're going to have to depend on Riley McColby a lot for minutes. He's going to have to do share minute. He's going to have to do probably 10, 15 minutes a game easily every game, and have to be able to hold his own. You know, so I hope he's in the weight room working out. Fran McCaffrey says he's working hard. He's working hard at it. So yeah, they're going to need him next year, and let's get him on the Luca plan. Whatever Luca used to train, let's get him on that plan. Okay, it's starting to get away from where I wanted to go with this, but yeah, the portal thing, it's just I don't know. Like I said, it's just gotten out of hand, and when you got Fran McCaffrey, he's out there recruiting all the time, and so he knows for sure. He knows for sure if he's saying that there's seven figures being offered to these guys to go pay for play. He knows. He knows that it's true. I believe the guy. He's just not saying that. Okay. All right. Let's move on. So let's talk a little bit of spring ball before I want to hit some of these recruits that we got coming in too for football. Let's talk about what I want to see from spring ball. Okay. Obviously, we want to see how um, McCabe, our new quarterback, does. Okay. Because one, I want to know from you guys who go to the game, and please post it when you can. What I want to know is was he able to go when they do 7-on-7s and stuff? Was he able to go, or was he just throwing the ball around more than anything else because he wasn't ready to go full speed yet? And what does he look like, especially with the wide receivers, since we only have one um, scholarship wide receiver in spring practice? I don't know what happened to Nicole. I'm struggling. Rahagini. Um, this year he was shown in practice pictures catching or video catching passes from Cade, but the next thing is all of a sudden I hear he's not practicing anymore. So, and nobody will answer my question. All the news media people who know the answers won't say. I've asked several of them. I've asked them. I've sent personal messages to them. I've asked them on their websites, what's going on with him? Why isn't he playing? You guys aren't saying anything. Is he hurt? Or are you just forgetting about him being there, or what's going on? And so I think that so that's one thing I want to see when you see the wide receivers. How do the wide receivers look? And is Rico out there? Is he out there playing? Okay. How does our old line look? I know that they're pretty injured, just like the receivers are all injured up. Um, and so there's a lot of new people plugging and playing, but that's good. I mean, that helps a lot. The new people getting a lot of reps this spring. That's really It's gonna help. It can't help but do anything but help build the O line for the future and make it a little stronger next year with it with our experience from this last 2 seasons where our O line wasn't great. I mean, our O line just has to be better this year, and everybody knows that. I believe it starts with the O line. It gives the quarterback that one extra second or 2 seconds that he needs to get the ball out. Um, with our new quarterback, Cade, I think that's not going to be an issue. I think he has a tendency to read the field quicker and get the ball out quicker. Um, but he's not gonna he's not gonna be throwing the ball all over the place like Purdue's quarterback does. He's just if he can be serviceable like Nate Stanley was our last QB, he's not going to always get 200 yards a game. He might get 150, 160. He's going to complete passes where they need to be, and if the O line's up to snuff, our running game should be fantastic this year. With and that's another thing I wanted to look at was the running backs. So we got Caden Johnson. Yeah, is it Caden? Yeah, Caden Johnson, our running back. I think we're in good shape with him. Um, look for we got Lashawn Williams as listed as number two. But look for well, gosh, what's his name now? The third guy in the rank. I look for him to have a huge breakout year. I really do. But I want you guys to look at those areas and see just what how does it look to you guys? Does it give you guys hope? I mean, in spring ball, usually the defense wins anyway because defense is always ahead of the offense. But how does Eric All look? You know, the defense should be great again. I'm excited to see what our defense, especially the ones in the back, the DBs. They call themselves the Doughboys now. Um, how do they look? Uh, So when you guys look at that, go to the practice on Saturday. I wish I could, but I'm 2,000 miles away from Iowa City, so it's not going to happen. You know, so I would like to see you guys report back to the Iowa Hawkeye Sports page on Facebook and just tell us what you see. Okay, sorry, that's peach water. Um, okay, so I just wanted to look at these. Well, first of all, Iowa gets 6 of the top 7 recruits so far committed for 2024 class. Okay. Out of the top 7, the only one they don't have is Grant Bricks. Um, and from what I'm hearing, he's not leaning Iowa at all. I think Iowa's on his list, but I don't think he's leaning Iowa because he's grown up way like in the western part of Iowa where he probably gets more Nebraska news than he gets Iowa or Iowa State. And I don't know. I haven't heard anything about where he's leaning because not nobody's really saying anything. But my guess is this guy he's an offensive tackle who weighs 285 pounds is probably headed to Nebraska. I'm going to guess Nebraska. If not them, then Iowa State because Iowa's State is probably closer to him than Iowa is. He's just really far away from Iowa City. He's probably a good 3 to 4 hour drive. He's probably closer to 4 hour drive from Iowa City. And so his parents wouldn't be able to come as much, and you always want your family and parents there to watch you play. So I don't know that Iowa's got a shot ahead of him. I'm not saying they won't get him because I haven't heard anything personally, and I don't have any inside intel. Um, so, but it would be a great get because he's an offensive tackle, and you guys know we need some help in that area. Okay. All right, we got 2 great running backs coming in. I was really impressed with some of their stats. The first one to sign over the weekend, or not sign but commit, was Xavier Williams, another Williams running back. What do you know? He's 6 foot, 220 pounds. So at that, I gotta believe he's more of a. It sounds like to me like he might be more of a Sean Green type runner. You guys remember Sean Green? Just bust through the hole and just straight running. Um, he he's number 13 in the state of Indiana. Is the number 69th ranked running back nationally. Okay. Um, he rushed for 1,475 yards with 15 TDs, and he was an Indiana All-State player. That's about all the information I could find on him, guys. That's all I could find on him. Um, so to me, he looks more like a power runner. Give the ball, get out of his way. He's going to run some people over and just get yards. Kind of like more of a fullback type. I see that kind of like a fullback is usually does. You just get the fullback the ball and he just powers his way through the line. Except this guy's got some speed and can run through the holes and do that. So look for him to be more of a downhill power runner, like compared more to Sean Green. Okay. Now Dahl is a little different. Brevin or Brevin, however you want to say his name. Um, he's a 6'1", 190 pounds. He's got some speed. He's 3-star. He's listed as an athlete, number 87th nationally athlete, number 7 in Iowa, not as a running back. Iowa wants him as a running back, but he's willing to play wherever they want to. He ran 100 meters in high school at 10.74. And guys, I don't know if that's super fast or not. You guys all have to let me know. Let me know if 10.74 is considered fast. It must be the way they're bragging it up here. He also rushed for 1,475 yards last year. Both the running backs we got coming in rushed for identical yards, except he got 27 TDs and he caught passes for 640 yards with 6 more TDs. This guy was responsible for 33 TDs, guys, and over 2,000 total yards of offense. And he was Iowa's 3A Player of the Year. This guy can catch the ball. They talked about using him, as a running back, similar to Tyler Goodson. That's what the coaches have said. They have told him that he's more like Tyler Goodson, running back. Which is good. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He can catch it on the wide receiver spot, if they want to. Plus, he can run. So, and they're both these guys are 3 stars. So I think Iowa picked up a couple of decent running backs. I think they may have stolen these guys, because honestly, um, these guys had some picks at some major schools, but not the big major ones. The blue bloods of football. Um, and so, but they had some offers. From the Iowa States, the Kansas States, the Minnesotas, the Purdue's. So we beat out some of our competition for it, some of our rivalries, some of our conference teams. We beat them out for that. So okay. Basketball picks up a transfer portal. We hit on him briefly earlier. Men's basketball. Ben Crikey, Crikey. He was Missouri Valley scoring leader this year, which he's 6'9", 220, so he's going to come in and play center. I believe at 6'9", he's kind of a small center. Um, but he's also going to need some help from Riley McColvey. Okay, guys, I'm sorry. One thing you'll learn about me, my pronunciation and sometimes my spelling are really off. I hated English class and didn't do a lot of work in that class. Okay, anyway, but he averaged 21 points in Missouri Valley games, but 19.4 points overall, 5.9 rebounds a game, which isn't bad. But if he's good, at center, I'd like to have him get more. They didn't give me his block shots, but I'm sure at center he's got a few block shots, but they don't have that listed here. He had 2.1 assists, and that's pretty good too because you don't see a lot of centers getting a lot of assists. Okay, per game. He can shoot 55% from the field, 80% from the free throw line, which is good because you don't see a lot of centers shooting that well from the shooting free throws that well. Okay, he's got 1 season left to play, and so this is perfect for Riley. I mean, Riley gets extra minutes next year. Riley McColvey, he gets minutes last year while playing behind Brent Cranky this year, and the following year, he's ready to go. I would say Riley will finally be ready to go and give us quality minutes by the time he's a senior. I still think, yeah, because I'm pretty sure he'll be a junior next year, which is hard to believe. And so, but I believe he gets a lot of minutes. Riley will get his minutes this year. We'll need him because I don't think it doesn't sound like Friend's going to get another big guy out of the transfer portal. I know he has a guy visiting this weekend. I don't know if that's a guard or not. This guy's been visiting, but Alabama is on his list of people that he's fighting against as is Arkansas, I believe. I don't remember the other schools, but he's not going to make a decision if he goes to all five of his. South Carolina's another one. If he goes to all five of his visits, then he won't be announcing until the end of April, 1st of May. I believe his last visit is set up for the weekend of April 29th, 30th. From what I've told, he's already done Alabama. Many people thought that he would end the recruiting there when he visited Alabama. So it's really good that they got him on there. I believe his name is BJ Mack. I think something like that is or TJ Mack. I can't. You guys probably know as well because a lot of you guys follow recruiting a little better than I do. But he's one that we can get. I think we're in the running, obviously, and so let's just hope but I don't know if he's a forward or if he's a um, center. I think we're pretty set at guard, but a lot of people feel that we don't have a true point guard. Um, Desante Bowen is a true point guard, but many feel like maybe he should move to the off guard and open up some shots for himself. Um, Josh Dix, I heard it was at one point was practicing being a point guard, but he's always played off guard, and um, I'm a little disappointed. He had a lot of open shots this year, could have shot them and for 3 pointers, and he didn't. And he's supposed to be deadly from 3 point line. So I think this freshman year is just like you got to be like Caitlin Clark when she was a freshman. She didn't shy away from nothing. And I think when you get your opportunity to play like a Josh Dix, is you can't shy away from it. Even if you make mistakes, don't shy away from shooting when you have the chance, when you got the open shot. I mean, Desante Bowen, which is probably why he rode the bench at the end of the season more than he played, was because he wasn't scared. He wasn't scared to drive in there and do the hoop and try to lay it in. Yes, did he lose the ball and cause some turnovers a lot? Yes. Did he miss some shots? Yes. And Fran probably didn't forgive him for some of that stuff. But I think Fran's big thing is turnovers. So if you create a couple of turnovers a game, you're easily on the bench probably. Okay, so that's where the basketball is for men. Let's move on to the women's. Okay. Um. So you guys, everybody who thought Lauren Betts was going to come to Iowa or hoping she would come to Iowa, and I was one of those guys because she's 6'7". Like I said, 6'7" center. Center. Oh gosh, for women's basketball, 6'7" center is awesome. Be hard to get around that. Anyway, she like I mentioned before, she committed to UCLA yesterday, and so she's not coming, guys. We might have a chance. Iowa is actively pursuing Anisha Morrill, 6'1", player with 25-point average, All American out of DePaul. She's in the transfer portal. I can understand why she would come out. And honestly, I don't know what position she plays. If you guys could help me out with that, that would help out a lot. What position does Anisha Morrill play at DePaul? Um, I think Iowa's needs for this year are the 4-5 though for the women. Um, and so right now we have O'Grady. She's listed as both a forward and a center for Iowa. Um, I think if we don't get anybody to play the center, look for O'Grady to take that spot. Um, Hannah Stokey, I know they played her a lot at center this year, but they also played her at power forward a little bit too. But it's really hard to tell the difference when Hannah's in the game. But Hannah would probably be a power forward, starting power forward next year. Um, I would guess. I would guess O'Grady would go to center and Hannah Stokey at power forward. backed up by Sydney Offalter. I cannot say that. But you guys know her. I believe she could be a backup power forward unless she starts ahead of Hannah, but I doubt that would be because she didn't come off the bench ahead of Hannah. But Sydney got a lot of minutes this year. She came off the bench quite a bit and played a lot. Okay. And I think O'Grady could be backed up in center by Sarah Goodman, who's listed at 6'3". By the way, O'Grady is 6'4", and obviously she was the tallest person on the team when you see her out there on the floor. They're not, Sarah, I don't think got a lot of playing time this year. And O'Grady was not as good on the floor as Monica was, but if they can work on the the catching passes and making a move to the hoop like Monica did over this off season with Caitlin, getting passes from Caitlin, they can't help but succeed. I mean, I think those guys are easy. The starters at those positions will easily average some points, double figure points. Whoever the power forward is and whoever the center is. The center will probably average closer to 17 to 20 points a game. And so I believe those are the options. And I don't know where Anisha Morrow fits in if she does come. I really don't, unless she's going to be a small center. Maybe she's a power forward. Who knows? And I mean, with Hannah there, I don't know, and Hannah and Sydney, I don't know where that would lead those two. I would believe that it would leave Sydney to get in the transfer portal and get out of there. Um, just for that reason. Okay, what do you guys think? The women's basketball did with Caitlin on the team and Monica, the law firm. How do you think? Do you think Iowa helped grow women's basketball quite a bit this year? I know that the LSU team is taking credit, and what's her name? Who cares what her name is now? The big mouth from the team. She thinks she was the reason people were coming to watch basketball this year. She thinks her team was the reason why people were coming to watch women's basketball this year. But Mike, I just got a question. Why did Iowa have the biggest average crowd draw in all year? Um, You know, why did where the team was at home they were sold out, and they went on the road they were selling out. They sold out Maryland, they sold out Indiana on the road, uh, and you saw the fans show up at the Elite Eight, and you saw, I mean, the Sweet, yeah, you saw the you saw them show up at the Sweet 16 and the Elite Eight and the Final Four. You saw them show up this year. And I think Iowa and Caitlin have done a lot to help grow the sport. You've got professional players who are taking notice, men and women's. You've got news media who were talking about Iowa team this year. When you got a Caitlin Clark on your team, which reminds me, why wouldn't these people want to come and just be fed balls? Because with the number of assists that she has, the leading assist player in the nation, why wouldn't you want to take a ball from her and score a lot of points yourself? Lauren Betts, I think you made a mistake. I think you should have come to Iowa because you would have scored a lot of points, but good luck at UCLA. Oh, and Haley Van Lith. I think we mentioned this before. She's not actively being recruited, even though she's in the transfer portal. She doesn't want to be recruited. And I don't know why she's waiting to announce this, but she's going to LSU. I know she will. That's my prediction, and I told you guys why earlier. Okay. And of course, you guys know Monica was um, drafted by the LA Sparks. She didn't even really know it because the first two rounds were on TV, and then they went to other stuff. And of course, ESPN I just happened to catch it real quick, softly, when I was talking to my wife. I looked over the TV and caught, LA Sparks choose Monica Sonano as the third round. I think it was the second pick in the third round. And it's like, that's how she found out. Somebody in her watch group saw it. And so nobody knew for sure. She didn't know if she was actually drafted or not because she saw it the same way we all saw it. Nobody called her ahead of time to tell her. So, and then I kind of want to end on the women's wrestling. I didn't get all the names down or anything, but they're picked. They're going to be picked to be a national powerhouse next year. There's just no way around it. They had 5 of their wrestlers go into a tournament this weekend and come and finish in the top 3, and they had others that finished like 6 somewhere in there. So they did well, and they're just gonna do well going forward. And they picked up a grad transfer this week, and in Maryland Deed. She's 2023 national champ from Augsburg. She has a career record of 77-20. Um, and this year she was 31-2 with 8 pins and 18 technical falls. Kind of makes you look like you're looking at the female version of um, yeah, you guys know who I mean. And so, yeah, guys, that's where I'm at. I mean, wish I could give you guys more. I just really had a lot I wanted to say about the NIL and just how bad it is and how out of control it is, and all the money floating around. I'm 66 years old, going on 67 soon, and I've watched college sports for a long time. And I've seen Hawkeyes through the rough period in this 60s and the 70s when they were just playing bad teams but stuck with them. Um, and I just feel like college sports is a whole different game now, and and the NCAA ruined it by not setting up some parameters. They just took their hands off of it, and they guys do what you want. Who cares? We want no part of it, and so that bothers me. It just bothers me that what college sports was pure there for a long time. Once they got rid of the cheating and got the scandals out of there, and I mean, of course, the cheating never went away. People just got better at cheating, you know. But at least it was working. There was a lot more parity in the sports. It wasn't always the same old team finishing up on top. But I fear now football's already getting that way with Alabama, Georgia, LSU. Um, who else? Yeah, but anyways, those same teams that keep propping up in the top 4 or 5 every year, same teams that keep making the playoffs every year. Ohio State is, I would put in that category. Um, and so, but basketball is going to get the same way, guys. It's going to get the same way. Pretty soon you're going to see the big name teams with the monies. And I'm going to believe that's got to be North Carolina, Duke, um, UConn, who was national champs in men's basketball this year. Kansas, the big name teams like that. I got to believe that they're going to be the ones that show up on top from now on every year. Every right now they're sprinkled in there every so often. As a top team, but they're also just they're just a top 25 team like normal that can be beat. Um, and so, but pretty soon if this we don't figure out how to control this NIL and get around it, and Iowa don't get more of an influx of cash. By the way, I've stuck my NIL money in this form. Have you guys? Okay, so yeah, teams like Iowa are going to be losers in the Big End. Unfortunately, it took away the parity, the equal chance that Iowa had to go out there and prove, and and we'll just see what happens in the future, guys. Thank you for watching. If you got this far, I appreciate it. Monday night, April 24th, Monday evening. I plan to have Paul and Jason on here, and Jason's going to the spring game, and I'm anxious to see what he plans to record a few things, and I'm anxious to see his analysis of what the things I want to see out of the spring game, and so hopefully that doesn't fall through, and we get him on here to talk about it. Um, we're gonna just basically turn the show over to him as much as possible to talk about what he sees for the spring practice game, scrimmage, whatever you want to call it. Okay. I'm out of here, and thanks for watching. I'll talk to you later.